Hello, everyone, and a beautiful Monday to you wherever you are in the world. This is the HR Sound Off Live Special Edition episode for today, Monday, the 23rd of March, 2026. I am your host, Julie Turney. I know it has been a hot minute since you guys have seen me. I am still here. There's stuff coming. Just bear with me. But I really wanted to be here today to share with you a special event that we have coming up in Barbados on March 25th. That is Disrupt HR Barbados Edition 7.0. So it is 7 years since we have been hosting Disrupt HR events here in Barbados. And we are happy to have our very first platinum sponsor who is sponsoring all of our events for 2026, and that is Triblock HR. And so we are here today to speak to their CEO, Duran Humes, who is joining us from the Bahamas. But before I bring Duran up on the stage, I just want to share with you some of the things that people can expect at Disrupt HR. So if you bought your tickets already, well done. We are completely sold out. Completely sold out. If you know me, please don't message me and ask me to squeeze you in. We don't have any room. We have for our very first time, over 200 attendees. We're very excited to have them on board. And here's what you're going to enjoy. As I said, if you purchase your tickets already, well done. Here's what you're going to get. First and foremost, we have a panel discussion that will take us into the start of Disrupt HR. Very first panel discussion in Barbados. We started hosting panel discussions in Jamaica last year. They went very well, so we're trying them across all of our events, which would be Barbados, Trinidad, and then Jamaica again. So joining us for the panel discussion, we have our moderator, Celia Collymore, and our panelists, Maria Boyce-Taylor, Brittany Brathwaite, and Stephanie Catlin Birmingham, to talk on the topic where engagement meets experience, designing workplaces people choose to stay in. And I'm very excited to hear what these ladies are going to bring to the table when they join us on Wednesday. And after our panel discussion, we are going straight into our amazing 11 speakers and our host, Ms. Gaynell Marshall. Gaynell has been hosting our events for the last 7 years. You know what you're going to get when Gaynell gets on the stage. We're going to have some fun and we're going to have some memorable moments. We also have a special guest, which I'm not going to tell you about. If you have your ticket, you will meet our special guest on Wednesday night. But these 11 speakers are bringing some amazing topics to the fore, and I'm very excited to have them join us. Again, you know, because of our partnership with Deaf House Barbados, one of our speakers, Ms. Danielle Moore, will be presenting. She is deaf, so she will be presenting in sign language. And we look forward to hearing her talk about how she manages navigating a hearing world in the workplace and raising 2 hearing sons. So I'm looking forward to hearing her. And also, we're going to have a topic. One of our visiting speakers, Ms. Tanya Davis, joining us from the USA. She is going to be talking to us about the importance of menstrual health in the workplace and why that conversation needs to happen to improve conditions for women who may be struggling with their menstrual health. And also, we have Ms. Alicia Ali, who is joining us from St. Lucia, and she's going to be talking on a very interesting topic that I'm really excited to hear. She's going to be talking about the invisible work that impacts us. So, you know, the housework, the caring for family, the caring for aging parents, and how these things impact how we show up in the workplace. And she's actually done a study based on information in Barbados. So looking forward to hear Alicia on that. Know that Disrupt HR events cannot happen without our amazing sponsors. And as I said before, our platinum sponsor this year is Triblock HR. They will be joining us right through all of our events this year. We also give great thanks to CIBC, Sagicor, Hamas Market, IDB, Pace Digital, HR Heart Consulting, HerMab, the Society for Human Resource Management of Barbados, the Nation News, the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, the Admin Shop, She Markets, Women's Empowerment Clique, the Job Connect, Gift Expressions, Phoenix Security, SCORE, HRCP, Insight Global, Saville Assessments, Courtesy Garage, and the Ocean Group of Hotels. Thank you guys so much, as well as Glitzy Photo Booth. These events cannot happen without amazing sponsors, and we're so glad to have so many sponsors on board today. But we are here today to talk about technology in the Caribbean and why it matters, and what kind of technology we could be using in the Caribbean to enhance our employee experience. So joining me today is Duran Humes, who I'm bringing to the stage. Hi, Duran. How are you?
Hey, Julie, doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. It's good to have you here with us today. If you are joining us today on LinkedIn or YouTube, please let us know where you're joining us from. We'll be happy to engage with you as you comment. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about Triblock HR. Duran, our platinum sponsor, thank you so much again for seeing something in us that made you say yes to wanting to work with us for all of 2026. We're really happy to have you on board. So tell us a little bit about yourself and Triblock HR. What made you start Triblock HR?
Well, thanks, Julie, and thank you for the opportunity, you and your team, for allowing us to actually do this with you again. The first time we went over to a Disrupt HR event, it was definitely very well organized, and the energy in the room really encouraged me to kind of say, hey, to the team, we have to do this again. We have to continue to support something like this. So, at least as it relates to Triblock HR, we started it about 3 years ago now because we saw a need within the Bahamas to automate and digitize a whole lot of the HR and payroll processes within the Bahamas, right? So we did that. We started to get a few customers and essentially iterating over and over and over on the product. And then we realized that, you know, the Caribbean is basically one. So why don't we at least check to see how other persons are doing it? And we checked and we figured out, hey, everyone is basically the same thing. So why don't we start to branch out and introduce what we've done to other Caribbean nations? So that's essentially what we've been doing over the past 3 years. And so far, so good.
Amazing. Thank you. So Triblock HR is here. What services do you provide to your customers in the Caribbean at large?
So Triblock HR is an all-in-one HRIS and payroll software, right? So it's built in the Caribbean by us in the Bahamas. Specifically, the entire team from the ground up is based right here in Nassau, the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, what it offers is from the full employee life cycle, from when they first apply for the job position online, all the way to them being retired, essentially, and everything in between. So we're talking about recruitment, employee data management, documents, performance, payroll, and a whole host of different things, inclusive of an LMS and rewards and recognition as well, or applause, essentially, and a bunch of different things in between, just to help fully encompass the 360 view or the life cycle of an employee, as well as make the job of an HR professional or payroll professional a whole lot easier by adding in a ton of different automations, using AI in very useful use cases, and making sure that you're able to do your job more effectively.
Definitely something that we need here in the Caribbean, because it still amazes me that in 2026, a lot of HR professionals are still paying payroll through Excel. Do you find that as well?
Yes, Excel and some, believe it or not, paper.
When you say paper, what do you mean, Durant?
Literally paper.
As in Microsoft Word?
No, 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 no.
Just
Literally
paper?
paper.
You're kidding me.
I am being dead serious. Yes.
In 2026.
Yes.
What do you think is the reason why Caribbean organizations are struggling with adopting technology and embracing technology in this space?
A big part of the reason is that you don't really have a ton of options, right? You
Yeah.
can utilize something like Excel,
Mm-hmm.
which works just fine. It's beautiful
It's
for
universal.
it serves its purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Or you can utilize something that may have been built, let's say, 30 years ago. And hopefully that particular piece of software was updated as the years went by.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or you can try to form fit a foreign software, let's say from the States, Canada, Europe, or somewhere else. You can try to make that work here. If you have the budget for it, totally fine. You can go
Yeah.
and do that. But it's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them to adapt the software to
Mm-hmm.
our market, right?
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
to acquire the software.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think is the primary reason is the lack of options.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, we do see more options coming online now, especially since we've started. There's a lot more tech-based startups.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud that we were one of the first pioneers in the Bahamas to make sure that, hey, we're making noise. We are a tech startup in the Bahamas. And there were many, many, many more that came
Yeah.
after us in different areas, of course, but we're proud to see that as well.
Yeah. So you're more of a full suite service.
Yes.
And as you mentioned, I think a lot of companies that may have an HRIS system, it is probably US based or European based. There
Mhm.
are a lot of restrictions and challenges that come with that, especially when it comes to processing taxes. And you
Yes.
know, us in the Caribbean, everybody has different tax tiers. And so, even if you have the people component, you might not have the payroll component because they
Mhm.
can't get the payroll component to adapt to what we need here in the Caribbean. And
Right.
so, Triblock HR can do just that, right? You can take on our tax tiers however they are formed anywhere in the Caribbean. Yes?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another part of the thing with the foreign companies is that we're not necessarily big enough and we're too fragmented. Because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, everyone has their own uniqueness and their own nuances. So it's not necessarily worth it for a lot of them, like let's say the Oracles or the SAPs of the world, unless you're a government or a large organization like a regional telecom company, for example.
Yeah.
Right?
And so we have those challenges, but Triblock HR is for everyone, whether you're a small entity, medium, or a large enterprise, you can manage anyone, right? What
Correct.
is the employee um, limit? So, like some
Mhm.
companies have a limit. So, for example, if you chose Bamboo HR, you can only go up to maybe 500, 1,500 employees. But you have organizations in the Caribbean that have thousands, tens of thousands of employees because they're regional companies, and
Mhm.
therefore it makes it even more challenging. So, how many employees can Triblock HR handle at any given time, and what does that look like for an organization?
All right. So I would say there's, let's say, a soft limit that we set internally of about 2,500. Right. We have not
Okay.
exceeded that. We have not exceeded that yet. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's primarily a soft limit in terms of our infrastructure and how we handle
Right.
things currently.
Right.
Right. So definitely, we can definitely go beyond that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what we're actually familiar with, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say 500.
Awesome. I love that you said yet. You,
Yes.
yes, yet. That is the operative word, and I like that,
Yes.
Duran, because that means you're willing to grow and move through to give customers what they need.
100%.
I have been following Triblock HR for about a year now, and I look on your Instagram page, especially. I see a lot of feedback that customers give about the service. Words that I've heard people say, a godsend. Triblock HR is a godsend. It has saved our lives. It has made us more efficient, made
Mm.
us more effective. What are the countries that Triblock HR currently supports for now? What are they? Because we know that is going to grow as you grow. But where are you supporting outside of the Bahamas? What does that look like for you?
So right now we are setting our feet in Turks and Caicos as well as Barbados outside
Mm,
of the Bahamas. And we are essentially approaching the other markets as well. So they're opening up. Persons
yes.
are very receptive. So as we go through the process of uh, getting everything solidified,
Hmm.
that's when we'll start to make some more noise in each of those markets.
Awesome. I wish you all the best, and I'm here to cheer Triblock on all the way, all the way. So I know you have a presentation for us, which is like a demo of what Triblock HR looks like. I am going to let you share your screen so that the audience can see, and then I'm going to jump off and leave you to have a conversation with the good people who are here today. And then if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask in the chat. When I come back, I will share them with Duran and he will answer all of your questions. So over to you, Duran.
Awesome. Thank you, Julie. So pretty much this is just going to be an overview of why you should utilize a platform like Triblock HR. If you're in the mode of, let's say, exploring a new HRIS, or just in terms of wanting to automate a lot of the processes that you currently do, Triblock HR is a solid option for you, no matter where you are in the Caribbean, right? So these are some of the problems that essentially a lot of persons do actually talk about, or at least some, but it needs to be talked about more, right? Because if you go with, let's say, a global platform, again, like Julie stated, in terms of, let's say, a Bamboo HR, it's a beautiful platform, right? And we're actually formalizing a partnership with them as well. But in terms of something like that, you have the HR side handled, but now how do you handle the payroll side and the compliance side, right? You have to then think that, hey, we're now going to be dealing with two vendors, one that is foreign that we may be able to get decent support from, and one that is local. Or if you're doing it manually, you're doing it manually, right? As Julie said, in 2026, that is a bit backwards. So we need to actually go ahead and improve on what we have and make sure that we can actually continue to grow as organizations. And you guys as HR and payroll professionals, you didn't necessarily get into the space to do a lot of paperwork. You primarily want to do what you were trained to do, which is deal with people, right? And get the best out of your staff and your teams. So a lot of teams are using manual workarounds, spreadsheets and a prayer. Some companies using paper. And again, the whole compliance piece, keeping up with every single thing can be very stressful and very daunting, right? I believe it was recently where it was Barbados that would have increased their minimum wage. And yeah, so keeping up with all of these different things across different countries, it can be a bit of a hassle, right? Especially if you're doing things manually. And this is where Triblock HR comes into play. You have payroll, everything related to HR, and compliance built into one. So it really makes your job a whole lot easier versus having to do things manually or have disparate systems all over the place. How it works is essentially a step-by-step process. The first step is that we configure everything for you. We do that for you, as well as then we onboard in terms of migrating your data into Triblock, however you currently have it, all of the documents, all of the certificates, and everything else. Then we do a payroll parallel to make sure everything looks good for you. And then you're off to the races. You continue to grow, Triblock grows with you. And as new things and new improvements come along, like everything related to AI and making things a whole lot more automated, you would get access to that as well. And you can scale across the entirety of the Caribbean. So essentially what we're looking at, core payroll, you have automated calculations for all of your taxes, gratuity and service charge as well, tips and all those good stuff as well for the persons that are in the hospitality space and restaurants. You know, that can be fairly complicated at times, especially if you're trying to do things manually. Overtime and shift differentials, scheduling, multi-currencies, and the whole 9 yards, right? As well as related to compliance, your pay stubs, which will be sent to all staff, year-end tax preparations, retroactive pay, approval workflows, and automations and everything else, as of course, your audit trails, which is critically important as it relates to, let's say, getting your new business license or maybe even getting audited, which some of you may have experienced what it's like to be audited. It's very fun, right? And you have people management. So we're talking about employee records, leaves, time and attendance, onboarding and offboarding. Performance, essentially the 360 review, where you have disciplinary write-ups, you have the recognition or the kudos that this person would have gotten as well throughout the year, and then reporting and analytics. All of these things in one. This alone will make your life a ton easier. When we're talking about adding in payroll on top of that and making everything flow seamlessly, Like, it just makes sense. And also, as well, employee self-service. So you're giving staff members the ability to do things on their own, right? They can grab their pay stubs. They can simply grab their phone, download the app, and they will then be able to access, say, their pay stubs, view their past, let's say time offs, request a time off, view their balances, even update the personal information. Of course, certain things will have to go through an approval process depending on how your organization wants it to be set up. And there's a whole host of different things that you can do from there. So again, one platform, every country across the entirety of the Caribbean. That is the ultimate goal with Triblock, to make sure that you as the company, you guys will be able to utilize it as effectively as you possibly can. Right? So why not just use whatever the platform is, right? A lot of you are familiar with many, many different HRIS and payroll softwares around the globe, right? There's a ton of them, right? The market is saturated for options as it relates to persons that are in the States, Europe, Canada, etc., even Latin America as well. But how many of them actually handle local compliance, right? These are some of the things that we need to think about, right? Multi-territory from day one in terms of being able to, again, manage multiple teams across multiple countries effectively. And then the main question is, how long will this actually take to roll out? I'm sure some of you in larger companies, you may have used one of these global platforms and realize that you're 16 months in and you're not necessarily live yet, and you're not necessarily satisfied with what you're getting yet, right? It can be a whole year before you're actually utilizing the platform. That's something that you don't necessarily have to go through. And again, we are from the Caribbean, born and bred. So we do understand the way that things should run here. So current stats on Triblock, we have over 15,000 employees on the platform, 4 countries localized and counting, and we are 100% compliant in each of those countries that we operate in. So again, the Triblock difference, we are a Caribbean company. We get local support, faster implementation, and it's a partnership model. One of the cool things with us, at least, is that you don't necessarily pay anything at all upfront until you're actually utilizing the modules effectively. So we're essentially counting on you, and we're betting on ourselves to make sure that you have the best experience possible as it relates to utilizing the software. And as, again, you grow, we grow, and vice versa. So again, you can find us at Disrupt HR. We will be there this week, this Wednesday. If you're there, stop by our booth, have a conversation. We'll see where we go from there. We really love to support an event like Disrupt HR, especially supporting an amazing person like Julie and her team, because it really gives us the opportunity to showcase what we have to offer, and also gives us the opportunity to not only support an event like this, but also make sure that it continues to go, right? Because obviously spaces like this is where a lot of great conversations are had in terms of real change that we can do for ourselves in the Caribbean, right? We don't necessarily have to look outwards to make the changes that we need internally. We can look inwards. We have the people, we have the knowledge, we have the grit to actually get it done, right? And I wholeheartedly believe that we have everything we need right here in the Caribbean. So thank you, Julie, and thank you everyone on the call.
For us, by us. I believe in that 100%. Thank you so much, Duran, for sharing that information and for letting people know what they can expect when they meet you at the Triblock booth at Disrupt HR. So, this is not your first Disrupt HR. I think this is going to be your third Disrupt HR, right? Because the first one you did was Trinidad.
Right.
Then you were with us in Jamaica as a sponsor last year. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want us, for people who have never experienced Disrupt HR, I think we'll have some new people who are joining us as always. What are some of the things that you like about Disrupt HR that you think the audience would appreciate?
Well, first things first, I love the energy that's in the room, especially when you put together a compilation of great speakers that drive the energy up even further. And everyone is getting excited, especially when speakers are cracking at least one joke per
Yeah.
presentation. At least one. You have
Yeah.
to throw at least one.
At least one.
Yeah. And, out of all of that, you do walk away with a new piece of knowledge from each individual speaker. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to walk away with something new that you did not know beforehand. Whether or not you're just super motivated to knock out that project that you've been procrastinating on, or whether or not you actually learned something new that you can take to your company the next morning. Right. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about having it in the middle of the week. You can take action on that Thursday morning. You don't have to wait until
It's what
next
I'm
weekend.
saying.
Yeah. You can
Mm-hmm.
start using whatever you would have learned that day. It's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful setup.
Yep. Thank you so much. And I always tell people that's why we kind of do it in the middle of the week. Number one, on the weekends, so many other activities going on that you're competing against. But
Right.
just as you said, like you might hear something that just moves you and you go, you know what? That's not a bad idea. And like somebody is telling me how they did it. And so I can see how I can put that into practice in my organization. At least let me make it a conversation in here.
Exactly.
One of the things I love about Disrupt HR is that even though it's called Disrupt HR, people think it's just for HR professionals, but it isn't,
No, it's not.
right? Whether you're an HR professional, business professional, anyone can speak and anyone can attend and benefit. As long as you want to make the world of work a better place, then there's room for you at Disrupt HR.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
I've met tax accountants, I've met CPAs, I've met persons that are in landscaping at the last event. It's a wide variety of different people.
Yes, yes, it definitely is a wide variety of people. And Disrupt HR, like I said, is for everyone. So I'm really excited to see some of the speakers, all of the speakers, and what they bring to the table. There are some topics that are just really riveting for me that I am really excited to learn more about. But I'm also excited for some of the surprises that we have in place in there too. And I know Triblock last year had given us like a couple giveaways.
Mhm.
Any surprises for people coming to Disrupt HR? We don't want to give away too much. I mean, but at
Yeah.
this point, you're really gonna miss it and blame yourself because we are sold out.
Well, yeah, and Julie, I kind of want to keep that for the persons that show up in the room that day.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I am so sorry for all of you who are not going to be there. But you know what? You have two other opportunities to join Triblock HR at Disrupt HR. They will be joining us on May 27th in Trinidad. And in on Disrupt Trinidad, we will be holding it at Soundforge. So it will be held in a space that people know for carnival. So again, another disruptive space. And then you can also join us on October 7th in Jamaica. So if you miss Barbados, you have some opportunities to, hop on Caribbean Airlines and come and join us in Trinidad or come and join us in Jamaica and make a vacation of it. People do it in Barbados too. So,
Mhm.
you never know. You can always make a vacation of it. Come and join us for either event. But we are definitely unavailable. We have no seat capacity for Barbados right now. And I want to thank all of our guests who, whether you took the advantage of the early bird tickets or you helped us sell out, we want to thank you so much. We want to thank our sponsors because you guys did your thing in buying those tickets. So we're going to have lots of representation from different organizations, and I'm so happy to see that. So, Duran, any final words for our audience? You're coming to Barbados. I know this is not the first time you've come to Barbados. What do you like about coming to Barbados, and what are you looking forward to when you get here?
Well, of course, outside of Disrupt HR, I definitely appreciate the slow vibe there. The vibe I get from being in Barbados is relaxing, right? It's similar for us when we go to our family islands, right? Like in Antigua
Mhm.
and Abaco, etc.
Yeah.
When we come to Barbados, it's pretty laid back, and I like that. You get to slow down a bit. You get to
Mhm.
free your mind a bit better. And
Yeah.
also like that, even though it is a bit of a slower pace, you still have the city aspect. So you still have very good access to anything that you need. Of course, the beautiful beaches, as all of us have.
Yeah.
that we can
Yeah.
relax on. Yeah. And definitely in terms of it being a great place to kind of get away, from time to time.
Yep.
I love it there.
We appreciate you. So
Mhm.
you're not coming alone. How many people are coming from the Bahamas representing Triblock HR?
So there will be a contingent of four of us.
Four.
Mhm.
Nice. And you're not just coming for Disrupt HR, you're coming for some sand, sea, and sun in a different space. So I'm sure you're going to be spending a couple of days here after Disrupt HR and before Disrupt HR. So we welcome you. Well, I got to say, welcome home when you get here, because this is now like another home for you. And Barbados is happy to have you. So thank you for joining us. Any last things you want to share with our audience on Triblock HR before we close out? Anything people need to know that you didn't share before?
Well, if you want to find out more about Triblock HR, you can go to our website and read all about it. You can reach out if you'd like to schedule a demo, just to figure out like, hey, does this actually work for us, right?
Mhm.
It's not necessarily something that you have to do, of course, but just an exploratory call. And also, as well, definitely looking forward to meeting everyone at Disrupt HR and seeing and feeling the energy in the room. That I'm definitely excited for.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I cannot wait. So, we have a very big audience this year. I'm excited to see everyone in the space, learning, engaging. But I also am excited to see more professionals and HR professionals experience what technology is possible to streamline their organizations and make that employee experience even more enhanced because they have technology like Triblock HR that they can tap into. And I love what you mentioned before about people don't have to pay right away. You want to make sure that what made you decide to take that kind of model?
Yeah, because the reason why we decided to do that is because we realized that, hey, it makes sense to essentially partner with our essential partners because we are partners together, right?
Yep.
This is not just a business deal where we sell you the software and you go about your business, right? We want you to have long term success with the software because that helps us to improve and not only grow as a company, but improve the software overall so that we can help even more people.
Yeah.
So, barrier to entry is basically zero, zero
Mm.
friction there, and we can just get started to get the ball rolling.
Okay. So the commitment is minimal on the customer side. It's
Mhm.
just you doing everything to make sure that that works and then building that relationship and then an invoice comes. What does the invoice look like, Duran? I'm just kidding.
you know, because essentially we are betting on ourselves and our level of service that we know that we can provide to you. Like
Yeah.
we know that based on our past experience, we provide a great level of service.
Yeah.
And we always like to say that hey, you can ask any of our current customers of Triblock in terms of how their experience is with it.
Yep.
There are over 60 of them throughout the region. So definitely you can ask any of them to say, hey, how have you guys been utilizing Triblock? And we're talking from very large organizations all the way to three-person organizations. So
Yes.
it's a
Yeah.
wide range.
That's amazing. And if you want to just get immediate feedback, you can go to their Instagram page, Triblock HR, and you will find on that page information and you'll see their customer stories, sharing their stories, real stories about how this software is making their organizations a better place and also making their HR departments more streamlined as well. Thank you,
Thank you.
Duran, so much for joining me today for this episode of HR Sound Off Live. Really appreciate having you, and we're looking forward to welcoming you to Barbados again. And we're looking forward to giving more relationships and hoping that more business comes your way as a result of all the guests you're going to get to engage with at Disrupt HR Barbados Edition 7.0.
All right. Thank you. And thank you
You're,
all.
you're welcome. Okay, guys, so that's it for today's episode of HR Sound Off Live. We are so happy to be able to celebrate 7 years of hosting Disrupt HR events in Barbados. We look forward to welcoming all of you who have paid for your tickets and will be joining us. We look forward to having you there. And as I said, if you didn't make it to Barbados, feel free to come join us in Trinidad or Jamaica in May and October, and there'll be more information about that on our LinkedIn and Instagram pages. You can follow us at Disrupt HR Caribbean. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.